Human Rights Council putting into question the report that it has already adopted, or is it undermining thriving national mechanism? The answer is clear. The council is being used as an instrument of political pressure. It is a counterproductive effort to embolden the terrorist rebels and exacerbate the situation on the ground.
For more on this, Martin Plaut joins us now live from London. He is an African analyst with the Institute of Commonwealth Studies. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on the program. Now, how do you read the official Ethiopian response to the UNHRC's statement on Ethiopia?
Well, there's only one word for it, and that is predictable. It's what you would expect governments to say. They always reject these kind of allegations, which is a pity because, you know, a lot of these allegations have been not just reported by Amnesty International and by Human Rights Watch, by many organizations, Reuters, AFP, Al Jazeera. They've all come up with the same allegations. Now, the vast majority of the allegations have been against the Ethiopian government or the Eritrean troops. But there have also been allegations against the Tigrayan rebels who were engaged in killings and rape. And all of these things should be investigated. But to do that, the Ethiopian government needs to allow investigators and journalists into the war zone, and that they've not allowed.
Let's talk about the role the international community is playing within this crisis. Why is it that the international community, including the USA, China, and the EU, do you think that they're doing enough to solve the situation there?
Well, it depends what you mean by enough. I mean, the United States and the EU have pushed sanctions against the Eritreans and the Ethiopian government for not allowing a resolution to this. All sides are trying to get a mediated end to the conflict. President Obasanjo, the former Nigerian president, has been mandated by the African Union to do that role, and the Kenyans are also doing their bit. So there's a lot going on. The problem is that at the moment, I think all sides think they can get further by winning the actual battle on the ground. And so the mediation effort at the moment is not going very far as we can tell.
All right, that brings me to my next question. How likely are other armed groups to join the current conflict and complicate the scene there even more, like the Oromo Liberation Army?
Well, the Oromo Liberation Army has been involved now for a couple of months. They've been supporting the Tigrayans, and there are other groups. There are 9 different groups, ethnic groups, who have supported the Tigrayans to one extent or another. Some of them are involved in armed struggles, some are not. And so there's a lot going on. But one point one should remember is that the Constituent Act of the African Union does allow for intervention by outside bodies. And it says, point H of their constitution says, pursuant to a decision of the Assembly in respect of grave circumstances, namely war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity. So when the UN then comes out and says, well, crimes against humanity and war crimes may have been committed, this actually opens the way potentially, I only say potentially, for African Union states to get involved and say this cannot continue.
Do you think this would be the road to peace?
Well, if they really did take that road, it would be an enormous step. I mean, unfortunately, the African Union has shown itself to be pretty ineffective. You know, even the United Nations has only been able to act in a very limited way, partly because China and Russia continuously block any kind of activity that would actually pressurize people. So you end up with bilateral action by the United States, the European Union, or individual countries. Mm-hmm. And that, of course, does undermine attempts to force a resolution to this conflict. But I think, sadly, that this war is likely to continue for a number of years to come, which is would be a terrible outcome. We have no idea of numbers of people killed, but at least 100,000 have died in the last year.
Mm. Unfortunately, that is the case. African analyst Martin Plaut, thank you so much for giving us your time today.